Once again, it's 10 o'clock and it's our time to bring you what's making headlines. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Namiyamba Dorothy is with us on sign language. As we start off, Africa's leaders are being challenged to turn domestic capital into real investment in infrastructure and industry. The issue dominated discussion at the Africa We Build Summit in Nairobi, organized by the Africa Finance Corporation and attended by President Yoweri Museveni and his Kenyan counterpart, William Ruto. Samuel Senano has more.
President Museveni was among the African leaders and investors who today gathered in Nairobi for the inaugural Africa We Build Summit, focused on unlocking domestic capital and turning infrastructure plans into bankable projects and jobs. The two-day meeting, hosted by the Africa Finance Corporation in partnership with the government of Kenya, brought together decision-makers to drive regional integration and industrial growth under the theme, Infrastructure as the Engine of Industrialization. Addressing the summit, Museveni said Africa's challenge is not lack of money, but ideology.
But I think if we only focus on infrastructure alone, we may not go far. Because there are wars. There are wars in Congo, there are wars in South Sudan, there are wars in all these different places, Somalia. So how will you have infrastructure if people are fighting for wrong reasons?
He said, the continent remains held back by fragmented markets, low value addition, and weak infrastructure. On Uganda's oil sector, Museveni said claims that refineries do not make money were misleading, maintaining that refining locally is key to retaining value.
Refineries don't make money. Hey, they don't make money. How about the ones who build them? Why do they build them? Then when I checked, the refinery in Uganda actually is very, very profitable.
He also reaffirmed Uganda's ban on exporting unprocessed minerals.
I have banned the export of unprocessed minerals. All of them, I have banned them.
I must really thank President of Uganda for taking this bold move. Stopping the export, they will be forced, they will come and produce. Why do you want to take the raw material, then you bring it back?
On his part, Kenya's President William Ruto backed Uganda's position, saying President Museveni rejected pressure to take easier options on oil.
I want to thank President Museveni for refusing to accept easy choices. He had a choice. He had a choice to allow the oil in Uganda to go the way others would have wanted. But I remember having a conversation with President Museveni, and allow me, Mzee, to say this. When I visited him once, and I asked him, Mzee, what's going to happen about the oil reserves that you have, because it's taken time. And I remember Mzee telling me, look, young man, then I wasn't even president. He told me, you see, some of these people you see here, if we give them a chance, they will sell this oil at a throwaway price and go and buy perfume.
Ruto said Kenya will invest in Uganda's refinery, building on Uganda's earlier investment in the Kenyan pipeline.
President Museveni called me and said, I want to buy 50% of Kenya pipeline. And he told me, I don't care the price. You know, that's how serious he was. When some other pessimists in Kenya were saying, oh, you know, the price is very high, I don't know. You know, President Museveni could see beyond the price. He could see the opportunity of transforming our nation, our region together. Mzee, I want to assure you that the same way you invested in Kenya Pipeline, Kenya is going to invest in your refinery and in the future of our resources together.
During a panel discussion, Nigerian industrialist Aliko Dangote pledged support to build a similar refinery in East Africa.
But my commitment today here is that if we agree with the 3-4 governments here about the refinery, we will lead and will make sure that that refinery is built within the next 4 or 5 years.
A new infrastructure report released at the summit shows that Africa has over $2 trillion in domestic capital, but much of it remains in short-term investments.
Now, the fallen Kalangala woman member of parliament, Helen Nakimuli, has been buried at her ancestral home in Luwero district. Earlier, the Requiem Mass was held to eulogize the fallen legislator at the Orthodox Cathedral in Namongona.
Giraki addako ekitali kibonerezo kubanga enembaga ntukuvu amaziga gentukaaba ga muntu naye mu bya Mukama enembaga ntukuvu kuba ali ekkubo lyokka tulina okuyitamu okugenda gyali.
Beautiful soul, may her death ignite in each one of us a self-examination that you are because I am. Since I am, therefore we are. It is about Ubuntu, it's about humanity. It is healthy to be who we are. This rising star has ignited for us, even in her death, she is unstoppable. She has created for us this opportunity and the challenge that let us be human. Let us be able to tolerate one another. Let us be able to reach out.
We pray that the good Lord continues to comfort the family and receives the soul of Honorable Helen, and may her soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you very much.
Now, the prosecution, may her soul rest in eternal peace. Now, the prosecution has concluded in presenting its witness in the trial of Christopher Okello Onyum, a key suspect in the murder of toddlers at Gaba Early Childhood Center. The court ruled that a prima facie case has been established, meaning the accused has a case to answer.
The High Court sitting in Gaba has entered day 8 of the trial of the prime suspect in the Gaba Early Childhood Center murder case, Christopher Okello Onyum. During proceedings, presiding Judge Justice Alice Komahanji granted Okello 2 breaks to consult with his lawyers as preparations for his defense got underway.
I have observed the accused person as the witnesses were giving evidence, and I'm satisfied that he was accurately and keenly following the proceedings. When this case broke off to allow him to consult his lawyers regarding the option for his defense, they returned and informed the court that he needs the court recordings and more time.
Upon return, Okello informed the court that he would decide on Monday the type of witnesses he intends to call. He stated that while he has potential witnesses in mind, he is uncertain whether he can provide their full details.
Let me hear from you. Give me the names.
Full names I don't have, my lord, for all the witnesses.
Okello further revealed that the contact information for these witnesses is stored in his mobile phones, which are currently held in court as exhibits in the ongoing trial. The court subsequently allowed him access to the devices, enabling him to retrieve and record the necessary details.
I will not mention the names, but he's given us the names of the 4 witnesses he intends to call and their telephone contacts. However, I note that the accused has not provided the physical addresses of the named witnesses, So the registrar of this court will use the telephone numbers that the accused person has availed to reach out to these witnesses so that they are able to come and give evidence.
Okello, however, informed court that he was prepared for cross-examination after he had earlier indicated his readiness to present his defense. Justice Komohanji later granted Okello an additional 1 hour on top of the earlier time to prepare his defense. Upon return, Okello stated that he was still not ready to proceed and requested the court to avail him the phones once again, but the request was declined.
My Lord, I pray that God grant me to look at my phone another time.
To look at your phone, but
Yes.
we gave you the phone and you scrolled through it.
My Lord, this time we are going to use the internet to download the rest of the information that we need, that we can find.
It is an exhibit now, and unfortunately I will not give you that. We gave.
Okello has since been remanded to prison and court adjourned to 9 a.m. on 24th April 2026. He is expected to present his defense and call his witnesses when the hearing resumes. Ivan Kahwa, UBC.
We sympathize with the families of the toddlers. Now, Parliament has passed the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026 to give 6 years income tax exemption to Bujagali hydropower project based on the structure of the Bujagali Power Agreement, where corporate income tax is retrieved and the electricity tariff, as we hear more in this report.
The chairperson of the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Kankunda Amos, presented a report of the Committee on the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026, the controversial clause to exempt Bujagali hydropower project from remitting income tax for a period of 6 years, prolonged the debate. Government argues that the exemption is to allow the affordability of electricity to Ugandans. From the committee stages, various stakeholders opposed to the move to waive the tax, citing no impact achieved.
The amendment is rejected. Income tax, according to the renegotiation power purchase agreement, shall automatically pass through into a tariff as a cost ranging between 1.8 to 2, and therefore will increase the cost of power.
Mbale Industrial Division MP Karim Masaba sided with the critics as he presented a minority report opposing the exemption.
Proposed extension of Bujagali tax waiver is projected to result in additional revenue loss of 690 billion shillings in the next 6 financial years. Considering that Bujagali will be forgiven about 115 billion shillings per year up to 2032.
For several years, Bujagali Hydropower Dam has benefited from annual income tax exemption. Parliament has often requested for an independent audit into the income and operations of the power plant, but with no clear response.
Bujagali truly is a project to benefit all of us. But many years it has been around. But if you look at the initial people were there, this project changes hands every year in and out. Why? It is one of the profit-making institutions.
We are very passionate about extending the exemption for many reasons, especially our manufacturers, saying that the rate, like I read earlier, Right Honorable Chair, has reduced from 8 cents to 6 cents.
The challenge we have from the minister has been here explaining the impact of tariff if we make this proposal. And the private sector, which appeared before the committee, explained that their worry would be the rise in tariffs.
So, since the Parliament is going to be here, in the unlikely event, let's not go beyond 1 year. So that if they want a full term of 5 years, next year they come, then the other Parliament can deal with them in that 5 years. But
the State Minister for Energy, Okasayo Polot, said the power tariffs have gone down because of the waiver.
Agreement, purchase agreement. Now we start complaining afterwards. It was a raw deal, very bad deal. I'm putting a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say, and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Through thick and thin, the House agreed with the government position.
Tariffs have continuously gone down because of the waiver given to this. It has actually reduced to 6.5 as we talk. Removal of this will revert all the gains and will threaten what we are talking about, the tenfold growth in
the House disagreed with the proposal, which provides that when one disposes a non-business asset, the person purchasing it will be required to pay withholding tax of 6% of the gross payment.
From Zeveria, I pay transfer what? Fee. If I buy land from Amos, I pay transfer what? Fee. But how do you come again and say that from that same land the man I've got, I should pay 6 what? %? That is the criminality of the highest what?
You should withhold 6%.
You withhold 6%. That is the criminality of the highest what? Highest order.
Law does not provide an exclusion. Supposing someone has land and he sells it to have sort of a medical problem, do you want to tell me that he has gained?
Because at this moment, I cannot easily differentiate between those who are selling for sentimental purposes and selling for business. I want to concede. I will come back next year.
The amendment of pay as you earn, with a proposal to exempt those who earn 350,000 shillings and below from paying tax, was also passed. This was after the increase in the threshold from 150,000 to 350,000 shillings. I'm Nafka Farid and Gloria Guitabinji at Parliament.
Well, thank you, Farida and Gloria. Now, Uganda Police Force has launched forensic induction course training tools aimed at standardizing skills in crime scene management and evidence processing. The Deputy Inspector General of Police, James Ochaya, reiterates that this initiative is one of the force's strategy to address dynamic crime environment and enhance the administration of justice.
The Uganda Police has stepped up its crime management transformation by harmonizing forensic science skills. The force has introduced the forensic induction course training tools as a specialized curriculum to standardize forensic services.
We had scattered tools, but now we are going to have one standard one, which will now guide not only the scenes of crime officers, but the entire police officers. Because sometimes the first responders are not the scenes of crime officers. That means all those who respond first to crimes must know how to preserve scenes of crime.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police, James Ochaya, who represented the IGP, underscored the significance of science in addressing modern crime challenges.
This evidential power is dependent on the training and integrity of those who respond to the scene, collect, preserve, and analyze the samples. This can only happen when there are standard operating procedures. For reasons for the development of the training tools being launched today.
The curriculum development was supported by the Kingdom of the Netherlands, which recommended the decentralization of forensic services to ensure timely administration of justice.
Decentralizing forensic services will help bring expertise closer to the communities, reduce delays, and improve the preservation of evidence for a more responsive and effective justice system. Ensuring evidential integrity, maintaining a strong chain of custody, and applying consistent quality assurance are critical at every step.
We have regional police commanders. Those regional police commanders command a host of staff, including regional scene of crime officers and regional CID officers. So they're the ones to carry the mantle to train all the other colleagues of theirs using the barazas that we have.
Police have outlined a strategy to roll out forensic training across all officers by integrating it into various skills development programs within the force.
For these tools, which have been launched today, are part of the initial step to ensure that the professionals that we do deploy to process crime scenes are standardized and they follow a critical regimen of practice that has been globally accepted.
The Forensic Directorate intends to leverage these integrated skills to tackle emerging and sophisticated crimes, including cybercrime.
Now, with regard to the dynamism you're talking about in crime, we are having a lot of cyber-related crime going on. And the other day, we still had the same discussion that we need to have this awareness ongoing. So every time now we need to go out to the public and continuously engage them to remind them.
Police community liaison officers have been urged to sensitize the public on their role in preserving crime scenes. Abdunasili Lubwama and Rogers Komagum for UBC.
And in Kasese, healthcare in Kasese district is set for a major boost as the South Rwenzori Diocese intensifies its drive to upgrade Resande Health Center for this Saturday, April 25th, 2026. The diocese will host a grand fundraising dinner at Hotel Africana to raise 300 million shillings for a modern radiology unit. The initiative aims to eliminate the long distances patients must currently travel for basic imaging services.
The diocese, which was carved out of the Rwenzori Diocese in 1984, has grown into a pillar of regional development with 5 directorates covering health, education and rehabilitation. In a message to the faithful, the Right Reverend Nason Baluku, Bishop of South Rwenzori Diocese, identified the lack of an X-ray machine as the primary barrier to saving lives. He noted that patients are currently forced to travel nearly 100 kilometers to Fort Portal or Kagando for diagnosis, a journey that often leads to critical delays in trauma care.
Diocese is the proprietor of Resande Health Center for which a fundraising dinner is being arranged in order to raise shillings 300 million. That is the required and requirement set up a radiology a radiology unit at the Health Center, Resande Health Center 4.
The chairman of the organizing committee, Engineer Samson Bagonza, stated that the diocese provides over half of the medical services in Kasese through its toll facilities.
Fundraising dinner is scheduled for this Saturday, the Saturday of this week, 25th April 2026. It is at Hotel Africana in Kampala here, not in Kasese, in Kampala. And it will be held starting at 5 p.m. in the evening. It will raise funds to raise money that is required to make improvements at the health center so that our people who live in that area can get better health services.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Honorable Kabyanga Godfrey Baluku, applauded the Church of Uganda for its partnership in reaching underserved areas. He noted that church is instrumental in helping the government fulfill its development plan for poverty eradication.
Apart from preaching the gospel to enrich people's spiritual life, South Rwenzori Diocese has been supplementing the NRM government's services and have put in place several interventions, mainly in the field of health, education, and poverty alleviation. I strongly believe this is the beginning of upgrading Rwasa and also to hospital status, because at the moment it's at the level of Health Center 4. We would like to appeal to all good-loving Ugandans to come for this fundraising on Saturday 25th at Hotel Africana.
The Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Annette Among, will preside over the function as the chief guest.
Now, according to the National Human Resource Manpower Survey Report 2023-2024 conducted by Uganda Bureau of Statistics, it indicates that 7.1 million people are in the formal sector, having the highest number being women, standing at 3.7 million, and leaving men at a total number of 3.4 million heads. Honorable Amos Lugolobe, the State Minister for Finance in charge of planning, in a speech read by Honorable Birahwa Mukitale, asserted that the success of women in informal sector against the men is attributed to government programs like PDM, Emioga, that focus mainly on financial empowerment to individuals in the informal sector, as he explains.
Has invested quite a lot in empowering women, right from the days of the affirmative action, the 1.5 in education, giving jobs. You can even see the appointments in government. So if women are really in charge of the economy and taking over the informal sector, I think we should celebrate as a country, and want to thank UBOS for bringing out this.
He made the remarks during the release of the National Human Resource Manpower Survey Report 2023-2024 held at Statistics House in Kampala. Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, asserted that whereas government has fixed vacancies to employ new graduates, they are not enough, but rather advise the youth to embrace the informal sector.
Now, these other youth should stop looking at government as the main employer. The formal sector is doing wonders. But if they want to come and be white collar, they will wait for longer.
Human resources remain a background of this transformation, and then without a well-understood, well-developed and effectively deployed workforce, our aspiration for socioeconomic growth cannot be fully realized.
I'm grateful for the report that we've received today, and I must say, me as a legislator, it helps me to make a right decision.
During his presentation on methodologies used, Matovu Munu, a senior officer at UBOS, explained that the survey design was comprised of 3 modules, as he explains.
We had a total of 1,460 tertiary training and other certificate awarding institutions, and of these, we covered 1,459 institutions. Because of their nature, they value and they recognize the importance of some of the data collection processes. That is why we realize that we have not had a response rate of 99.9%.
Dunstan Aguta, a senior statistician at UBOS, says key findings indicated that the largest enrollment of workforce in the formal sector is from university. The report also revealed that 37% of employers in the formal sector have policies for managing stress. The survey represents insights on labor market dynamics, workforce trends, employment patterns across sectors, providing statistical evidence to guide human resource planning and evidence-based policy formulation. Whereas the survey registered success during the research, it faced challenges like slow responses from formal establishments that delayed timely completion. The survey was funded by Government of Uganda in partnership with the European Union. Helen Barbara, Kenneth Tanaba, reporting for ABC TV News.
Our contributions towards the 52nd birthday marathon for General Muhoozi Kainerugaba have continued to trickle in as ministers, heads of government agencies and members of parliament continue making their contributions to the Patriotic League of Uganda officers in Nakuru to purchase birthday marathon kits. Let's hear more in this report.
A section of members of cabinet have continued to visit the Patriotic League of Uganda offices at Nakuru to extend their support towards the 52nd General Muhoozi Kainerugaba's birthday run. The Thursday visit was opened up by the third Deputy Prime Minister, Rukia Isanga Nakadama.
It is very important that we have to come in and support this program. We have been supporting, of course, in our constituencies and elsewhere. So if a person like this one comes out and says, I'm supporting the vulnerable people, I'm supporting the needy, we have to come in and also support.
Right Honorable Nakadama is one of those who have been with us.
She was followed by ministers General J.J. Odongo of Foreign Affairs, Minister Kabando of Kampala, Godfrey Kabyanga Baruko of National Guidance, and Beatrice Okello of Economic Monitoring.
So everybody can donate, maybe water, maybe food, anything can easily give us. Please donate too for the cause of our people, not only in Kampala, but everywhere in Uganda.
As the Rwenzori sub-region, we are happy that we are going to join the run, and we shall run for charity and hope, and we are very, very ready.
I call upon people of northern Uganda, I call upon Ugandans, let's join MK in his 52nd birthday run.
I want this message to go further down into the field. I come from eastern Uganda, I come from Amuria district, and I want what we are doing in Kampala to include and involve the people of Amuria.
Although the exercise welcomes individual contributions, others have chosen to move in as a team, like this team of members of parliament, Greater Masaka.
You know, we have presidential advisors who were in the ghetto, but they are now serious people. So if we want to inspire leaders of tomorrow, let us contribute.
We are members of the NRM, but you know NRM joined hands with Patriotic League of Uganda in the theme of the Tuko Pamoja, which supported us in our previous campaigns, and we emerged as victorious in our elections. So we are here to join hands and support General MK.
The NRM Women League members have enticed the day as they moved in with cheers and birthday songs, accompanied by heavy envelope.
Happy birthday, dear MK. Happy birthday, dear General.
Felt touched because we are mothers. And a mother, naturally, when it comes to anything concerning a child, it becomes our concern. That is why, as the Women's League, we intentionally decided to come out and support this run.
Uganda Communications Commission, through its Executive Director Peter Nyombi Thembo, has also not been left behind.
Some of us who have been around for some time, we see this as an anchor for our country.
Although General Mhozi Kainerugaba's birthday falls on Friday, 24th April, all eyes are on the 26th Kololo Charity celebrations. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Happy birthday, dear General.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama kabalance? Nkuwaire 15 Mama, nkuwaire 15.
Ompaire 15.
Abantu abakuluma atandise obuyayi mwene.
Obuyayi obuliga.
Iwe.
Ngobiyanko
ava mu bibozi sente dange ninzadde kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
On his 52nd birthday, General MK invites you for a charity run. The run will be held on 26th April 2026 at the Kololo Ceremonial Grounds starting at 6 a.m. Get yourself a kit using these MTN and Airtel payment platforms. Run for charity, run for hope.
Run for charity, run for hope.
Notice is hereby given that the Clerk to Parliament will on the 13th, 14th and 15th of May 2026 at Parliament House administer the oath of allegiance and the oath of Member of Parliament to each person elected as Member of Parliament in accordance with the following schedule. Wednesday, 13th May 2026 from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Honorable Ayo Joyce Makamoe to Honorable Babidi Mili Babalanda. From 2 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Honorable Babula Noel Kataike Matilda to Honorable Kanabi Jime. Thursday, 14th May 2026, from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Honorable Kangwaje Stephen Rakanuma to Honorable Uchamuzi David Kalwanga. From 2 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Honorable Lule Eria Eric to Honorable Nambeshi John Baptist. Friday, 15th May 2026, from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Honorable Namboze Teddy to Honorable Opolot Patrick. 2 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Honorable Opolot Okwalinga Simon Peter to Honorable Zawede Victorious. Please note that each member-elect of Parliament is requested to collect his or her invitation card, program booklet and biodata form from the Office of the Clerk on Monday, the 4th and Tuesday, the 5th of May, 2026 between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Please carry along your national ID. Filled-in biodata forms may be returned to room 112, first floor, south wing, or handed in at the registration desk on the day of swearing in. Each member-elect of Parliament is requested to follow the schedule above and advised to keep time. Each member-elect of Parliament shall be accompanied by 3 people only. Each member-elect of Parliament with disabilities shall be granted 1 additional person as an aide.
Welcome back from that short break. And in a refugee crisis, Uganda's Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Engineer Hilary Onek, is calling on African leaders to prioritize peace and conflict prevention. Onek's warning of continued instability driving the refugee crisis across the continent comes as Uganda hosts over 2 million refugees, placing increasing strain on national resources.
Across Uganda's refugee settlements, the pressure is visible, with overcrowded schools, stretched health services, and limited food supplies. Many of those here have fled conflict in South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In seeking safety, they have found a system under strain.
Currently, we have about 2 million refugees, about 1 million from South Sudan, about close to 700,000 from Democratic Republic of Congo, and then the others are some from Burundi, a few from Rwanda, Sudan, Khartoum. We have a large number, about 50,000 now.
With declining global funding, Uganda is increasingly left to carry the burden.
To the extent that World Food Program, which used to feed the refugees, no longer have money to feed these refugees. As Uganda now, these refugees are in our country, they've left them in our hands.
Authorities are now shifting toward resilience and supporting refugees to sustain themselves.
Together with the Ministry of Agriculture, our ministry is supporting those activities of agro activities in the refugee settlement so that they generate something so they don't sleep totally hungry because they don't have enough.
But beyond humanitarian response, leaders agree that the root cause must be addressed.
The Western ideology, people thinking, Western ideology think democracy is only expressed through election. But democracy should be giving a human being their rights, other rights other than only election, choosing the government, which government should rule them.
The choices made in the coming months will determine whether South Sudan moves towards a durable peace or back into the cycles of instability.
It is a shared warning that without the right political and security environment, democratic processes risk deepening crises instead of resolving them.
Let us use this summit to foster a process that delivers inclusive dialogue, free, fair, and credible elections, and sustainable peace for the people of South Sudan.
For Uganda, the stakes are immediate, hosting millions displaced by conflicts beyond its borders.
As you are aware, USAID has already closed. USAID, which used to be the main funding agency, donor agency, that used to finance all our local NGOs and other NGOs to support refugees.
From Kampala to Addis Ababa, the message is clear that peace is the only sustainable solution to Africa's refugee challenge. Until then, countries like Uganda will continue to shoulder a burden borne far beyond their borders. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now, in another crisis, monkeys take over residents. There's a growing conflict between humans and monkeys in many urbanized communities, leaving families on tenterhooks. According to residents of Arkwright City on Entebbe Road, monkeys have adopted to urban environments by climbing rooftops, entering homes, and feeding on the fruits and food that is left within the residential compound. Let's hear more from this report.
Like vervet monkeys, black and white colobus monkeys, and baboons are naturally meant to thrive in forests and bushes. However, due to increasing human activity and urbanization in areas such as Greater Kampala, their natural habitat has been significantly reduced. They now have limited shelter, and the wild fruits they once depended on have been destroyed as cities continue to expand.
It's reaching crisis level as we lose all the forests. Monkeys will the population will largely go down.
This situation did not happen by accident. It is a result of land use change and urban expansion. The monkeys are simply looking for food, while communities fear the consequences.
Our city, their home. It used to be their home, but they have been pushed to the corner. Even the name itself, Kampala, really tells you that Kampala was once a wild area. They have adapted. Instead of climbing on trees, they're climbing on top of roofs. They used to eat wild berries. They will now eat our pawpaws.
In response, wildlife conservationist Edith Kabesime is spearheading awareness efforts on the need for coexistence between humans and primates.
They need to keep their areas hygienic, not to attract the monkeys. They also don't need to be aggressive to them.
She was addressing members of the Arkwright City Rotary Club in the Arkwright City residential area along Entebbe Road. The risk of zoonotic diseases remains high, with monkeys suspected of carrying viruses such as Ebola, monkeypox, Marburg, and yellow fever, in addition to increasing concerns over food safety in homes.
There exists a boundary between humans and wildlife, a natural boundary, which protects us as humans from catching diseases from animals, and the other way around, and animals catching diseases from us. But as monkeys and other wildlife continue coming into human settlements and interacting with people, it means we have broken that natural barrier.
The conservationist is urging communities to avoid feeding monkeys, properly manage household waste, and report persistent cases to the Human Wildlife Authority for appropriate intervention. Experts further emphasize that these wild animals hold significant economic value, particularly in the tourism sector, and should be protected through proper urban planning, environmental conservation, public awareness, and efforts to reduce human-wildlife conflict as cities continue to grow.
Now, nutritionists under their umbrella body, the African Women Agribusiness Network, AWAN, have engaged members of the media on the importance of accurate and consistent reporting on nutrition-related issues. While addressing journalists at the AWAN headquarters, the network's director, Joyce Atuhaire, called on media houses to increase on coverage of nutrition stories to help raise awareness among the public.
According to the Ministry of Health, Uganda, limited awareness and inadequate sanitation remain major barriers to proper nutrition. However, specialists believe that the media can play a critical role in bridging this gap by providing accurate and timely information. Experts emphasized that prioritizing proper dietary practices and educating communities on what constitutes a balanced diet can significantly improve the health of many Ugandans.
Nutrition, and we are not doing it alone. Ministry of Health is always doing that, and other development agencies and our donor GAIN, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, they have been doing that in Uganda. We are doing it with them, and we are continuously doing that.
Joyce Atuhaire, the director, African Women Agribusiness Network, AWAN, noted that many Ugandans, especially in rural districts, continue to face serious challenges related to poor nutrition.
As aggregators, people who are in value addition, so even the distribution channel has been reduced up to the last mile, the last person. And also around dairy and protein, you know, those are areas where milk is not affordable, yogurt is not affordable, but at least some yogurts that are in small portions, some yogurts that are fortified have been realized in this project.
During the engagement, various stakeholders involved in the production of nutritious foods showcased their products and highlighted their efforts in promoting healthy eating habits across the country.
With mushrooms, we revealed that they also suppress the cancer cells and also the diabetic cells.
And I believe in quality and affordable. It is my cry to all the Ugandans. Let us produce quality products, which is affordable.
We have both benefits from the peel and from the pulp.
They also called upon the government through the Ministry of Health to strengthen policies, increase funding for nutrition programs, and support community sensitization campaigns to ensure better health outcomes for all citizens.
Now, climate change is increasingly causing serious challenges in Uganda, leading to financial losses and, in some cases, a loss of life. This has heightened concerns among Ugandans as the effects continue to intensify over time.
Uganda is experiencing visible impacts of environmental degradation, including deforestation, soil erosion, wetland loss, and unpredictable weather patterns. These changes are affecting agriculture, water supply, and food security in many parts of the country. Leaders from some of the most affected districts highlighted how they have been impacted, citing increased suffering among citizens and significant financial losses to government.
Every year we experience severe dry spells which affect the yields of our farmers.
The sector has been grossly affected because of flooding. We have seen a number of fields. We have lost a number of fields actually because of flooding. We have seen a number of schools collapsing, latrines collapsing because of flooding in the area.
Yes, the water was being bought at 2,000 shillings a jerrycan. And if you have to go for water, it means you have to walk very far distances to and a little water for use.
Stephen Koma, the Commissioner for District Inspection at the Ministry of Local Government, explained the measures government has put in place to help restore environmental balance in the affected districts.
Vulnerability assessment of the local governments which are prone to climate change shocks, like in Karamoja, in West Nile, and other parts. Then, besides that, those criteria, when they pass through, then they are given these grants.
The United Nations Capital Development Fund has added 10 more districts to its support program, increasing coverage from 14 to 24 districts under the Local Climate Adaptive Living Facility Local Initiative. During the meeting, leaders exchanged views on how climate change has affected their communities and how the local program, launched in 2011, has been instrumental in supporting adaptation efforts.
Thank you for sharing.
Justin Audrin, the head of the United Nations Capital Development Fund program in the region, said the expansion is aimed at increasing support, noting that the program is now covering 24 districts in environmental protection efforts.
This is a stepping stone to addressing the challenges that lie ahead. Today, 90% of adaptation actions are financed by the public sector, and most of it is borne at the local level by local governments. As official development aid is also reducing, we need to tap into new sources of finance and include the private sector into the equation. UNCDF has a unique role to play to help de-risk investment and support market development that addresses local priorities.
As Uganda continues to grapple with the effects of environmental change, stakeholders are emphasizing the need for coordinated action to safeguard natural resources and secure livelihoods for future generations. Irene Faith Nantongo, UBC News.
Now, women with disabilities have appealed to the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development to take their voices to government for their inclusion in discussions that shape national and global policies. They assert that they remain underrepresented when key climate decisions are being made, yet they are the most affected when disasters strike.
The dialogue convened key government stakeholders, civil society organizations, researchers, women with disabilities. The discussion also revolved around the need to address disproportionate impact of climate change on disabled persons, especially women.
Here to officiate and participate in the launch of a youth-led organization called Ignitable Foundation, and it is incubated by Reach Hand Africa. The organization is focusing on climate change and especially the people with disabilities in the way they interface challenges to do with climate change. A very, very important day because they are graduating into programming right from being incubated, and this is what we are talking about, youth mentorship. Without giving a referral pathway for young people to access opportunities, this country cannot develop as much as fast as we want.
The event also marked the launch of the Ignitable Foundation, committed on empowering persons with disabilities to champion climate action, policy and advocacy.
We have these challenges, the policy challenges and key issues that we have highlighted already in our draft to be considered in the policy, in the coming policy formulations, things to do with having people with disabilities included in the decisions being made at higher levels like Parliament. For example, the Environment Committee of Parliament, the Climate Change Department should have a representative. Of a person with disability.
The key outcome of the dialogue was the generation of a position paper which will inform advocacy efforts on shaping more inclusive national and global climate policies.
When you have a flood, they are the first people to get affected because they cannot move from one place to another, which makes it very detrimental for them to make those movements. But then the second thing also is that people who are able differently in terms of being deaf, they can never know when there are early warning systems, when people are saying that we should run away or anything.
Some of the obvious challenges are structure in terms of accessibility, but also when we are talking about disasters, during the disasters, when everyone is fleeing for their lives, these people are struggling to, navigate through a flood, through a landslide, and these are the voices that we are raising in today's discussion.
Crispus Arinitwe reporting for UBC.
Now, it was a moment of celebration. Over 3,500 students graduated in various disciplines, showcasing academic excellence at Kampala University's Gaba campus during its 23rd graduation ceremony. Ivan Jiko has more.
The ceremony was attended by several distinguished officials, including the chief guest, Dr. Maggie Kigozi, and the Chancellor of the University, Professor Mondo Kagonyera. It was held under the theme of advancing technological development through artificial intelligence.
This dual occasion celebrates the fulfillment of dreams and the beginning of new responsibilities. As a university, we must remain at the forefront of this technological advanced transformation, but also innovative thinkers, ethical leaders, and the solution providers capable of addressing the pressing challenges of sustainable development.
During the ceremony, Kampala University, Original Campus Vice Chancellor and Founder, Professor Badiru Dungu Katerega urged graduates to prioritize creativity and innovation in their respective fields.
This ceremony also marks, for those who love history, 27 years of Kampala University's transformative contribution to education, research, innovation, and service to humanity.
Professor Katerega assured graduates that their transcripts would be released soon and cautioned against litigation, noting concerns over students who have previously taken legal action against the institution.
There is no judge who will give you marks which you have not got. It's only the Senate that is responsible for your marks.
The Chancellor, Professor Mondo Kagonyera, emphasized the importance of artificial intelligence and urged the government to intensify effort to promote and disseminate the technology.
Let integrity guide your actions and never underestimate the power of continuous learning.
The chief guest, Dr. Maggie Chigozi, encouraged graduates to utilize the skills acquired, invest wisely, and embrace entrepreneurship by creating their own jobs.
As you strive to find employment in your area of study, you may at times need to take up any job that is available.
Dr. Chigozi also advised graduates against job discrimination, noting that openness to opportunities is key to succeeding in a competitive world.
Now, those who are coming to me to lie me, don't come to me. Because now I have studied and I know the politics and I know the psychology. If you're a liar, you talk and talk. After you go back when I know what you are saying.
When you don't use Momo, you get insulted by strangers. Save yourself from insults. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
Are you a woman with a small-scale business with a dream of growing it to another level? The GROW Project is here to support you in realizing your dream.
The GROW Project is a government initiative implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development and Private Sector Foundation Uganda with support from the World Bank.
We support women-owned businesses across the country to gain hands-on and business management skills through training within your location, business financing through grants and affordable loans, and infrastructure in your areas of operation to enable you to increase your productivity.
If you have a business that makes sales of up to 800,000 Uganda shillings per month, the GROW Project has the tools and resources to help you succeed. For more information, contact your district or city GROW focal person or call our toll-free line on 0800 307 777 to learn more about how you can benefit from the GROW Project's services.
The GROW Project, empowering women economically, transforming communities.
And in the world of business, as Uganda moves closer to its first oil production, China National Offshore Oil Corporation has conducted a well-controlled emergency drill at Kingfisher oil field in Kikube district. Let's hear more in this report.
The well-controlled emergency drill at Kingfisher oil field in Kikube district tested firefighting preparedness, high-temperature melting and cutting, wellhead reconstruction, among others. As Chinese National Offshore Oil Corporation's first well-controlled emergency drill, it fills the gap in the capacity base of the unit and provides solid safety support to energy.
The use of this drill is to help us prepare in case of an emergency and also test the equipment. So Sinok Uganda Limited purchased equipment to use in case of any well control incident or any emergency. So this drill helps train first of all the national staff, the Ugandans that operate this equipment, how to use the equipment, and also test the equipment if it is fit for purpose.
Today this base is fully operational, equipped with specialized emergency equipment and staffed by a joint team of Ugandan and Chinese professionals working by side.
Such demonstrations, according to partners in the energy sector, are a clear indication that the country is set for its first oil production and Sinok's possession of the right equipment to control damage at the oil field.
We have not only established the first overseas well control emergency base in Uganda, but have also forged emergency response area team composed of both Chinese and Uganda professionals.
That exercise exhibited the sector's readiness in terms of equipment, coordination, response times, and strengthened the sector's emergency preparedness as we prepare for first oil. I think we have witnessed the same in this case.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development committed in ensuring that the first oil is produced safely and sustainably.
This drill speaks directly to Uganda's broader objective of achieving first oil responsibly. First oil must not be understood only as a scheduled milestone. It must also mean first oil under conditions of discipline, compliance, preparedness, and public confidence.
Since inception of its official operations in August 2025, the Uganda Well Control Emergency Rescue Base has 48 sets of emergency equipment covering 6 categories and 15 items, enabling capabilities including personal security and on-site investigation.
And into the world of sports, as we quickly look at golf, the I&M Bank Serena 63 Golf Series is back for the 2026 season, promising a longer and more competitive calendar for the amateur golfers.
The announcement was made during a press briefing held at the Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resort and Spa in Kigo, which is the official host for the series. This year's competition will run for 28 weeks under a full handicap Stableford format, where players accumulate points with only their best 18 rounds counting toward the final standing.
This is not just a once-off tournament that we're discussing. This is a 28-week series with 2 quarterly events. Today is the press release, and it's got some exciting quarterly events and the grand finale.
The format is designed to keep players engaged throughout the season for this series that are powered by I&M Bank.
I'm convinced that we are adding something tangible to golf in our support of this tournament. At I&M Bank, we're intentional about our partnerships that create meaningful touch points with our customers in spaces that they value and identify with.
Golfers must complete at least 6 rounds per quarter to qualify for the quarterly prizes and a minimum of 18 rounds to compete for the grand prizes. The series will feature 3 major events scheduled for June 20th, September 12th, and the grand finale on November 14th.
As Theo has said, we are extremely excited to partner once again with the I&M Bank for the 63 series. This series embraces both our members and guest golfers. As Theo has said, the whole idea is to make our course open to all golfers. The reduced rate for the green fees should attract as many golfers as possible.
Winners will walk away with attractive rewards including golf memberships, Serena accommodation, and experiences across East Africa. Participation is open to both members and non-members at a registration fee of 63,000 shillings. The 63 in almost everything about the series reflects the course record as set by Kenyan Dismas Indiza in 2019 and adds legacy to the competition.
Once again, that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for allowing us into your space. My name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango, and Dorothy Namiyomba has been with us on sign language. From the entire news team, it's a good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Happy birthday, gentlemen. Happy birthday to you. Ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Abeka yunga mwagala luyimba ki? Sagala tudemba luyimba ki? Temesingo. Kale tutandike Temesingo DJ.